Hello everyone, and welcome to RadioCSIRT English Edition, your daily appointment with cybersecurity news. I'm Marc-Frédéric Gomez, your French cybersecurity voice for today's threat landscape. It's Monday, December 9th, 2025. You're listening to episode 45, live from Paris in France. In today's headlines, patch management, the final patch. Tuesday of the year arrives today with critical security updates expected from Microsoft. Administrators are urged to patch immediately before the holiday change freeze. Critical vulnerability. A severe authentication bypass flaw has been identified in the Ruby SAML library, CVE 2025-25293. Attackers can exploit XML Signature Wrapping to gain unauthorized access, necessitating an immediate upgrade to version 1.18.0. AI security. The UK's NCSC releases a major technical advisory warning that prompt injection is fundamentally different from SQL injection, requiring architectural privilege restrictions rather than simple input filtering. A cybercrime. Polish police have arrested 3 individuals in Warsaw possessing an arsenal of hardware hacking tools, including Flipper Zero devices and radio equipment, suspected of targeting critical defense infrastructure. Digital sovereignty. Swiss hosting provider Infomaniak launches Euria, a sovereign AI alternative designed for sensitive enterprise data, guaranteeing immunity from the US Cloud Act and zero data usage for model training. Critical vulnerability identified in the Ruby SAML library. Tracked as CVE 2025-25293, this flaw enables a complete authentication bypass. It affects all versions prior to 1.18.0. The attack vector relies on sophisticated XML signature wrapping. The root cause is a parser differential between ReXML and Nokogiri libraries. These parsers interpret the same XML document structure differently. Attackers exploit this gap to inject malicious SAML responses. These forged assertions pass cryptographic signature validation, but grant unauthorized access to the system. Note that this stems from an incomplete fix for the previous CVE 2025-25292. The risk is high. Threat actors can bypass SSO controls and escalate privileges within federated environments without valid credentials. You need to upgrade to Ruby SAML version 1.18.0 is mandatory to eliminate this parser logic flaw. Major law enforcement action in Warsaw targeting suspected physical cyber operations. Polish authorities detained 3 Ukrainian nationals carrying a sophisticated hardware hacking toolkit. The seizure confirms capabilities for close access operations against defense infrastructure. The inventory features Flipper Zero devices utilized for attacking RF protocols and bypassing physical access controls. Suspects also possess 19K counter surveillance units to detect RF emissions and hidden tracking devices. Additional hardware includes high-gain antennas, routers, and a mass of SIM cards, indicating potential GSM fraud or local signal interception. Prosecutors allege intent to compromise critical national defense IT systems. Forensic teams have successfully decrypted the seized electronics. This incident underscores the threat of actors using commercial off-the-shelf COTS hardware to bridge air gaps or compromise secure facilities locally. For mitigate this threat, you need to validate physical security controls and monitor for unauthorized RF signatures near sensitive facility perimeters. Tactical escalation observed in threat actor Storm 0249. The group is pivoting from simple access brokerage to advanced ransomware facilitation. The attack chain commences with ClickFix social engineering. Victims are coerced into executing malicious PowerShell commands via the Windows Run dialog. The payload is fetched via curl.exe from a spoofed domain mirroring Microsoft infrastructure. Execution occurs in memory to evade static analysis. The core evasion technique involves DLL sideloading against SentinelOne binaries. The actor drops a malicious MSI package. This triggers the legitimate Sentinel Agent Worker.exe process to load a Trojanized Sentinel Agent Core.dll. This grants system-level privileges while blending in with authorized security processes. Post-exploitation involves extracting the system MachineGuid using living off-the-land binaries. This specific reconnaissance confirms intent to deploy hardware-bound ransomware payloads, making generic decryption impossible. Hunt for unauthorized curl.exe spawning PowerShell and validate the hash integrity of all security agent DLLs residing in user app data folders. Strategic release of a sovereign AI platform by Swiss host Infomaniak. Dubbed Euria, this solution targets the enterprise risk associated with US and Chinese LLMs. The architecture leverages local inference of open source models hosted entirely within Swiss borders, ensuring legal immunity from the US Cloud Act extraterritoriality. The core technical differentiator is the strict data governance policy. Unlike industry leaders, Euria guarantees zero training on user prompts. The platform features an ephemeral mode, ensuring zero log persistence post-session. On the physical layer, the infrastructure utilizes advanced heat recovery systems feeding the local Geneva grid, validating a sustainable Tier 3 plus operational model. For CISO and GRC teams, this offers a viable remediation for corporate shadow AI usage, a credible alternative for sensitive assets. Shift your TLP Amber workflows to Euria to ensure immunity against the Cloud Act and prevent data leakage. Critical guidance released by the UK's NCSC regarding GenAI security. Technical Director David C. asserts that comparing prompt injection to SQL injection is technically flawed and dangerous. SQL injection is solvable because code and data can be strictly separated via parameterization. LLMs lack this boundary entirely. To the model, everything is just a stream of tokens to predict. The NCSC classifies the LLM as an inherently confusable deputy. This implies that input filters and detection layers are fragile overlays, not root cause fixes. The vulnerability cannot be patched out. Defense requires a shift to architectural constraints. If an LLM processes untrusted user data, it must be stripped of privileged tool access. Security relies on deterministic guardrails outside the model, not on the model's ability to refuse a malicious command. Stop treating prompt injection as a patchable bug. Architect your systems to tolerate LLM compromise by strictly scoping API permissions and using deterministic safeguards. The Australian Signals Directorate, ASD, reports a global surge in information stealer activity. These binaries are evolving beyond simple credential harvesting. They now systematically scrape session cookies, browser profiles, and authentication tokens. These stolen logs fuel the initial access broker, IAB economy, providing ready-to-use access to corporate networks. The tactical implication is severe. Attackers use these artifacts to bypass multi-factor authentication, MFA, via session replay attacks, pass the cookie. This allows silent infiltration into VPNs and cloud tenants. Infostealers are currently the primary precursor for major ransomware incidents, granting valid account access without triggering brute force alarms. Detection is difficult as the malware often self-deletes after exfiltration. Integrate dark web monitoring for corporate domains into your CTI feeds and enforce strict device compliance policies to reject sessions from unmanaged endpoints. Microsoft's December 2025 patch Tuesday addresses 57 vulnerabilities, including 3 0 days, 1 actively exploited in the wild, and 3 critical remote code execution flaws. Highest priority is CVE 2025-62221, a local privilege escalation in the Windows Cloud Files mini filter driver. It exploits a use after free condition, allowing attackers to gain system privileges. 2 publicly disclosed 0 days require immediate attention. CVE 2025-64671, GitHub Copilot for JetBrains, RCE via cross-prompt injection. Malicious untrusted files or MCP servers can append and execute commands in the user's terminal. CVE 2025-54100, PowerShell, a critical RCE where invoke web request automatically parses and executes scripts embedded within a retrieved web page. The impact and mitigation are deploy OS patches immediately, prioritizing endpoints and file servers. For PowerShell, update all administrative scripts and automation to explicitly use the --use basic parsing switch to prevent automatic script execution. Be aware of the external React 2 shell critical RCE currently seeing widespread exploitation. Audit your React server components. Patch Windows within 24 hours to stop local privilege escalation and mandate basic parsing on all external PowerShell web requests. And that's the end of this Patch Tuesday episode from Paris. I hope it provided clear and useful information. If you are a new listener, feel free to subscribe to the RadioCSIRT podcast. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, Deezer, and Spotify. You can find all open source intelligence links used for this episode on RadioCSIRT.com. Until then, remember, don't think, just patch. See you tomorrow for a new episode. Bye.